me just use
Wow,
Clemson
shots,
for.
y'all.
Well, no, it's not shots.
Y'all,
It's
y'all
in
hear that? Y'all
but
hear that? You
that,
use
that's
Livingstone. We're bigger than Livingstone.
yeah,
Hold on.
but there's nothing else in Salisbury, which is my point. And in where Benedict is in Columbia, and you know who rules Columbia. So
Yeah, we do. We do.
All right, whatever.
We do.
Anyway, my
We
point
do.
is, if a kid goes to Clemson, Clemson's basketball program is not huge at all. What I'm saying to you is, if there's a kid who's marketable enough that the local car dealership, one of the larger ones in that area, and I don't know what it is, wants to pull that kid aside and say, hey, look, we want to pay you $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to be the spokesperson for our dealership during each sales season, then that kid should also be able to go off and make that. And that's the point that I'm making. So, but when you change that, because you don't adding an agent to it doesn't say that agent gets to negotiate with the schools. That the agent is only negotiating any kind of revenue for certain kids, and that's the way it's going to be in the NBA anyway. You might as well go ahead and introduce them to it now.
Well, I ain't no problem, but I wasn't disputing that fact. The fact that I was disputing was where you said Zion, like athletes like that, now that they can have people offering them money for their likeness, they might go and contribute to legacy. And all I was highlighting, you said,
well, I'm saying
and you
they
kind
can.
of
I wouldn't say they would. I'm saying the options there.
But the way the way it was presented was you were saying it would level out the monopoly of the bigger schools, streamlining these particular level athletes because now they have a choice. And that's what I was debating towards. I was debating towards, no, I don't feel that because now the market is even more open for these same big schools that have the TV contracts and everything to further monopolize and streamline these athletes.
You're absolutely right. And we're about to see
same CEOs and stuff have vested interest in a lot of these schools.
Exactly. And we're about to see exactly how well that goes because right now California has opened it up to where these kids can make money off their likeness. And most of the schools in California are in a Big Five conference, which is the Pac-10. And most of those schools were going to be able to show us, much like the state of Washington and the state of Colorado did, that, hey, look, it's not going to be that bad if we introduce.
Now.
But listen, what I'm saying is, those states said, hey, look, I guarantee you, once we open up the market and start selling marijuana legally, it won't be as bad as you think. And everyone that was skeptic of that went, nah, this is going to be bad. And then what they showed us was a surplus and the decrease in crime. And went, nah, it really ain't as bad as y'all keep making it out to be. But we got to move on because the other thing that's happening in sports this week is the introduction of The Last Dance. That's Michael Jordan's last 3 years with the Chicago Bulls, and they called it The Last Dance because they had decided, I'm not sure why this is a 10-part series. Hopefully they go back and show the struggles of the Bulls during those struggling times to get to this point, what makes it so big. But it's a 10-part series. I hadn't figured that part out, but it's here, and it's two. Well, I mean, this thing is going to be 10 weeks every Sunday for the next 10 weeks.
No, it's not. No, they're showing 2 episodes a week, and also after it premieres,
is it 2 episodes a week?
It's 2 episodes. They'll show them back to back, so it's 5 weeks. So they're showing 2 episodes a night. But also after it premieres tomorrow, it will go on Netflix on Monday, so you can watch it on Netflix as well.
Okay.
But they're premiering back episodes each Sunday for the next 5 weeks.
Either way, that's roughly 10 hours of talking about the last season.
Well,
Michael Jordan with the Bulls.
First of all, people aren't haters like you that watch.
I'm not a hater at all.
Sounded like a hater right there.
No, I'm not a hater at all. What it is. See, if they were talking about the Bulls dynasty, then I would be like, yeah, it's going to take some time to cover that. But they're talking about the last season. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You need 10 hours to talk about the last season?
They only an hour. So, D, for every show, do you only collect an hour of footage? They probably have collected hundreds of hours of footage that they could use, but they knocked it down to 10.
Which perplexes me even more because it's like, man, how much did y'all talk about this? So I'm interested to see it for that reason right there. I want to see what it is that they cover because, again, it just depends. Again, once I found out the premise, that's when my ears perked up and was like, wait a minute. Because before, I was under the impression this was about the Bulls dynasty and how it ended up coming together. And that was more like, yeah, this is going to take 10 episodes to do. I'm all for it.
That's not going.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hoping for. So hopefully that's what it covers.
Y'all see the hateration?
Because that's what I want to see. Like y'all listen. For everyone who listens to our show, you know I'm the first one that says LeBron James, when it's all said and done, is going to be considered the greatest player of all time. But that doesn't mean I am absent of the Jordan nostalgia of everybody else. It is still present within me. And Michael Jordan was still one of my favorite players. Honestly, and we've talked about this before, Michael Jordan's probably one of the coolest people I've ever met. So to even be able to say that I've met him, like I'm front and center when this thing pops off tomorrow. So
I know, because you want to see what you can hate on and dispute and be like, see, I told y'all Jordan was weak.
But look, I know it. But listen, we are going to dispute this, though, because the other thing that I've argued about Michael Jordan was that he needed Phil Jackson to be able to accomplish what he accomplished. And you know who said that? Who else said it? Who seconded that emotion?
MJ.
Michael Jordan. And but my argument isn't for Mike. My argument is for the over the top nostalgiatic fans that continue to talk about how he would have been or what he didn't need and coaching isn't important and Phil couldn't do blah blah blah, and we just so happen to be talking about the one coach who has the most titles of any coach in NBA history. So what say you to that, good brother? What say you that coaching was important specifically for my coach? I've always said coaching and continuity, and the continuity was so important to Michael Jordan. And he said, "If Phil goes, I go," and I'm not hating on that at all. I think he just recognizes it. My issue is with the people who don't recognize it. So what say you, sir?
I look at it like this. In that era in particular, coaches were still premier. You look at the Lenny Wilkins of the time, the Chuck Daly's. So it was like you had to have that mixture of coach. I mean, Pat Riley with the Lakers through the 80s, Casey Jones with the Celtics. You had to have a coach that could manage the personalities of the players as well as put in a system that they believed in to win. So we know it took a level of coaching, not to take anything away from Doug Collins, but I think for any, you look at the Laker franchise, when they resurged with Kobe, Shaq, and throughout, even the post-Shaq, it was with Phil Jackson. It's just certain coaches instill that in you, and you want a coach that can bring the best out of you. So I don't want to say, because I know what pro-LeBroners like yourself want to say is LeBron didn't need a primetime coach or whatever.
That's not true.
I know you're ready. It's on the back of your tongue.
What I've always said was he hasn't had one, and he's still been able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish, which shows exactly what type of player that he was. He needed one to achieve what Jordan achieved. That's what my argument has always been. To win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 championships, in order for him to do that, he needed what Jordan had, and he never had that. And that's where I've always stood with it. That's what he needed. I'm not saying that he did better
honest,
because
though.
he didn't have it. I'm saying he didn't do as well because he didn't have it.
But let's be honest, though. When Bron got his chips, Bron was with some pretty elite talent.
So was
So
every other
now,
championship winner.
now, hold on. I know where you're going.
Exactly.
Calm down, Pro
Okay.
Bron. Calm down, Pro Bron. But what I'm saying is, MJ, when Phil came with the Bulls, the first three, all that talent was pretty much in the core of that talent was already there. So Phil brought it out. It wasn't like they had to make a move to win championships. They had the core: Paxson, Armstrong, Pippen, Jordan. They had the core of that team there already. So in that respect, it wasn't where they had to make moves, i.e., LeBron to that degree. LeBron had to make the move. Now, LeBron did get to a chip in Cleveland where he went to a talented Pistons team.
Ooh, and he had
that was great.
absolutely
But-
nothing behind it.
But I'll give him that. He has done more with less if we look at the whole. Even the last couple Cleveland teams, if you look at the whole. But
That's all I'm
when
saying.
you're and with a Kyrie Irving who was playing out of his mind that year, and a healthy Kevin Love, he was not ever playing with slouches. So I don't want us to get in the mindset like, okay, the Lakers, the Bulls were just this overpowering, just overwhelming talent. And LeBron, when he won these titles, he had nothing. When he won titles, he had marquee talent.
Yeah, he had help and he had some good talent. But
So-
see, here's the thing that gets overlooked with LeBron that I don't like. And the reason why I don't like it is because it never got overlooked with Jordan. And again, that's not to diminish. And I hate having this conversation for that reason, because it feels like in order to prop one up, you have to diminish the other one, and it's not to diminish Jordan. The problem is we watched Jordan go to the playoffs and get bounced out of the first round for a very long time, and because he won 6 championships, we tend to forget that. Well, Jordan, when he was getting bounced out of the first round, didn't have any help either, nor did he have good coaching. So it was because of that he was getting tossed, like not just bounced. The Bulls were getting tossed out of the first and second round.
Well,
I'm
not
not
gonna say that.
They
I'm
were
not gonna say
getting tossed.
They didn't have coaching. They were, but I'm not going to say they didn't have coaching. But look who they were going through early in his career in the mid '80s. You had to go through Boston.
You mean the Washington
You had-
Bullets and the Milwaukee Bucks? That's who was tossing Jordan out of the first round. That's what I'm saying. Like,
No,
that's who was getting him out of the first round. The first few years.
Milwaukee had good ball clubs with Sidney Moncrief, Terry Cummings. Jack, you've got to understand, early in his career in the mid '80s, it was Jordan and who else? Charles Oakley. Who else did he have? But he's going through a Boston team with Parrish, McHale, and Bird early in his career. Then it went to the Detroit teams where you had Dumas, Isaiah, Lambeer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Bucks teams the Atlanta teams were pretty decent, but you can't sit there. You can't sit there and the Knicks teams were pretty decent.
But
you
my
can't
point
sit
is,
there and say early in his career,
my point is he was getting bounced out, and we don't have those conversations. Nor is it a detriment to his legacy. And that's kind of what my point is. And when you go back and you consider the circumstances, he wasn't on better teams. That's the point that I'm making. It's not like I'm saying he was bounced out by bums. He was not on a better team. And no one wants to, but they give him that leverage to prop the argument for his legacy. And Michael Jordan doesn't need a prop for his legacy, is my point. But once he got 2 things for which I've always said are important, and for Carolina fans, you hope you got your listening ears in, because this is exactly how you've gotten 3 titles under Roy Williams. When you have when you have continuity, for one, and good coaching, that's how you win. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at all the titles that they've won under Roy Williams. He had a slew of seniors on there, which means he had continuity because he had them from when they were freshmen.
Please,
that matters.
Please don't get the Carolina fans.
Man, but listen,
Yeah.
but that context matters, and that's